What if I told you that the most powerful force in your life isn't your talent, your connections, or even your determination? What if I told you that there's something you already possess that could transform every relationship, every opportunity, every challenge you face? The people who seem to effortlessly command respect, who walk into rooms with quiet confidence, who never seem to compromise themselves for others' approval, they know something the rest of us are missing. It's not what you think, and it's definitely not what they teach in self-help books or confidence courses. They've discovered how to make self-respect their superpower. Right now, you might be thinking, self-respect? That sounds nice, but how is that going to change my life? You might be dealing with people who don't value you, situations where you feel powerless, or moments when you question your own worth. You might be tired of being overlooked, underestimated, or taken for granted. Here's what I want you to understand. Self-respect isn't just about feeling good about yourself. It's not positive thinking or affirmations, it's something much more profound and much more practical. When you truly understand what self-respect is and how to cultivate it, everything changes. Your relationships shift from desperate to magnetic. Your career moves from stagnant to unstoppable. Your daily experience transforms from reactive to intentional. People start treating you differently not because you demand it, but because you embody something they can't help but recognize. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share will completely change how you see yourself and how the world sees you. By the end of our time together, you'll understand why self-respect isn't just important, it's your secret weapon for creating the life you actually want. Understanding self-respect. Have you ever noticed how some people can say no without explaining themselves while others apologize for existing? How some people can speak their truth without aggression while others either stay silent or explode? There's something happening beneath the surface that most of us miss because we're focused on external validation, on trying to be liked, on avoiding conflict. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine Maya, a talented marketing professional who consistently produces excellent work but finds herself constantly overlooked for promotions. She stays late, takes on extra projects, never complains, and is always the first to volunteer. Yet somehow, her less experienced colleagues keep getting the recognition and advancement she deserves. Maya's confused and frustrated. She's doing everything right, isn't she? She's being a team player, showing dedication, proving her worth through her actions. But here's what Maya doesn't understand yet. She's operating from a place of proving rather than being. She's trying to earn respect instead of embodying it. The difference is profound. When you're trying to prove your worth, you're essentially saying, "Please see how valuable I am." When you embody self-respect, you're simply being valuable without needing external confirmation. Think about it like a tree. A mighty oak doesn't try to prove it's strong. It doesn't perform its strength or demand recognition for its stability. It simply grows deep roots, reaches toward the light, and naturally commands respect through its presence. Animals seek shelter in its shade, and people are drawn to rest beneath its branches, not because the tree is trying to be impressive, but because it's authentically itself. But here's where most people get confused about self-respect. They think it's about being proud, being tough, or being independent. They think it means never needing anyone or never showing vulnerability. Some people confuse it with arrogance or selfishness. True self-respect is actually the opposite. It's the quiet knowing of your inherent worth that doesn't need to be defended or proven. It's the ability to be vulnerable because you're secure in who you are. It's the capacity to help others without losing yourself, to be generous without being depleted, to be strong without being rigid. Self-respect isn't about thinking you're better than others. It's about knowing you're not worse than others. It's not about being perfect. It's about accepting yourself as human while still honoring your potential for growth. When you lack self-respect, you operate from scarcity. You give away your power trying to get approval. You say yes when you mean no. You tolerate treatment that diminishes you. You second-guess your instincts and defer to others even when you know better. But when you possess genuine self-respect, something magical happens. You stop being reactive and become responsive. You stop seeking permission and start making conscious choices. You stop trying to fit in and start belonging to yourself first. This creates a natural magnetism that has nothing to do with manipulation or tactics. People are drawn to those who respect themselves because self-respect is actually quite rare in our world. Most people are so busy trying to be liked, trying to succeed, trying to prove themselves that they've forgotten how to simply be themselves with dignity. The pain you might be feeling right now, the frustration of being unvalued, the exhaustion of people-pleasing, the sadness of not feeling seen for who you really are, this isn't evidence that you're not worthy of respect. It's evidence that you haven't yet learned to give yourself the respect that would naturally attract it from others. The wisdom story. Let me tell you about David, a man who learned this lesson in the most unexpected way. David was a successful architect who had built a thriving firm, had a beautiful family, and seemed to have everything figured out. But inside, he was exhausted. He said yes to every client request, worked weekends to accommodate other schedules, and never charged what his expertise was truly worth. His breaking point came during a project meeting where a client berated him in front of his team for a design change that the client himself had requested the week before. David sat there, taking the abuse, apologizing, and promising to fix something that wasn't actually broken. That night, he went home feeling smaller than he had in years. But instead of just feeling sorry for himself, David did something different. He began to examine why he had allowed that treatment. What he discovered surprised him. David realized that he had been operating from a deep belief that his worth was tied to his usefulness to others. He had confused being helpful with being valuable, being accommodating with being professional, being liked with being respected. The next morning, David called the abusive client and calmly explained that the design was exactly what had been requested, that he stood behind his work, and that if the client wasn't satisfied with his professional approach, they were welcome to find another architect. He delivered this message without anger, without defensiveness, just with clear, respectful honesty. The client, surprisingly, apologized immediately and asked David what it would take to keep him on the project. This experience taught David something profound. When you respect yourself, you give others permission to respect you too. When you don't respect yourself, you actually make it harder for others to respect you, even if they want to. David began to implement this understanding in every area of his life. He started charging what his work was worth and found that clients value him more, not less. He started saying no to projects that didn't align with his values and discovered that the projects he did take on were more fulfilling and successful. Most importantly, he stopped trying to earn respect and started embodying it. The difference wasn't just in how others treated him, but in how he felt about himself. He went from feeling like he was constantly proving his worth to knowing his worth was inherent. This is the secret that transforms everything about self-respect. It's not something you achieve, it's something you remember. You don't build self-respect through accomplishment or external validation. You uncover it by removing everything that covers up your inherent worth. Every person who walks through life with genuine self-respect has learned this truth. Your value isn't determined by your productivity, your likability, or your perfection. Your value is intrinsic to your being. When you truly understand this, you stop giving your power away and start living from your center. The revelation. Here's what transforms everything about self-respect. It's not about becoming someone impressive, it's about honoring who you already are. Think about a diamond buried in the earth. The diamond doesn't become valuable when it's discovered and polished, it was always valuable. The mining and polishing simply reveal what was already there. Your self-respect works the same way. Let me tell you about Elena, a woman who discovered this truth in a most unexpected place. Elena had spent her career as a nurse, constantly giving to others, often at the expense of her own well-being. She prided herself on being the one everyone could count on, the one who never said no, the one who put everyone else's needs first. Then Elena was diagnosed with a chronic illness that forced her to slow down. For the first time in her adult life, she couldn't be everything to everyone. She had to say no, she had to ask for help, and she had to prioritize her own needs. At first, Elena felt guilty and selfish. She worried that people would stop valuing her if she wasn't constantly available. But something interesting happened instead. As Elena began to honor her own limits and needs, the people in her life didn't love her less. They began to relate to her more authentically. Her relationships deepened because she was no longer performing the role of the selfless caregiver. She was simply being herself, complete with human limitations and needs. Her colleagues at work started coming to her with their real problems instead of just their tasks because they sensed her genuine authenticity. Elena realized that in trying to be perfect for others, she had actually been hiding her true self. In being endlessly accommodating, she had been denying others the gift of knowing your authentic boundaries, preferences, and humanity. This reveals the deeper truth about self-respect. It's not selfish, it's generous. When you respect yourself, you show others how to relate to you authentically. When you honor your own boundaries, you give others permission to honor theirs. When you treat yourself with dignity, you model what healthy relationships look like. While most people think self-respect means being tough or independent, true self-respect actually means being honest about your humanity. It means acknowledging your needs without shame, expressing your preferences without apology, and setting boundaries without aggression. The paradox is beautiful. The more you honor your authentic self, the more others are able to connect with you genuinely. The more you respect your own limitations, the more others appreciate your genuine contributions. The more you stop trying to be perfect for others, the more they're able to love you as you are. Here's the revolutionary insight. Self-respect isn't about what you do, it's about how you do it. It's not about being aggressive or passive, confident or humble, strong or gentle. It's about bringing authenticity and dignity to whatever you're being. You can be helpful and still maintain self-respect by helping from choice rather than compulsion. You can be vulnerable and still maintain self-respect by sharing your truth rather than performing your pain. You can be accommodating and still maintain self-respect by giving from abundance rather than emptiness. The moment you stop trying to earn respect and start embodying it, everything shifts. Your energy changes from depleted to replenished. Your relationships move from transactional to transformational. Your presence goes from anxious to anchored. This is why self-respect becomes a superpower. It's not something you use on others, it's something that transforms you from the inside out. When you truly respect yourself, you naturally make choices that honor your well-being, speak truths that reflect your authentic voice, and create boundaries that protect your energy. People sense this authenticity immediately, even if they can't consciously identify what's different about you. They start treating you with more consideration, not because you demand it, but because you emanate something that naturally evokes respect. Foundation building. Now that you understand the true nature of self-respect, let's explore how to cultivate it systematically. Self-respect isn't built through grand gestures or dramatic declarations. It's built through small, consistent acts of self-honoring that accumulate into an unshakable foundation. Foundation 1. Internal awareness. The first foundation is developing intimate awareness of your inner landscape without judgment. This means learning to observe your thoughts, feelings, and reactions with the same compassion you'd offer a dear friend. Most people live so externally focused that they've lost touch with their internal experience. They know what others think of them better than they know what they think of themselves. They can read everyone else's mood but miss their own emotional signals. Self-respect begins with self-awareness. Start paying attention to how different situations, people, and choices feel in your body. Notice when you feel expanded and when you feel contracted. Observe when you feel energized and when you feel drained. Keep an internal dialogue going throughout your day, not in a neurotic way, but in a caring way. Ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? What do I need? What would honor me in this moment? These aren't questions to judge or fix anything, just to stay connected to your authentic experience. Practice sitting with difficult emotions without immediately trying to change them. When you feel angry, instead of suppressing it or acting it out, get curious about what boundary might need to be established. When you feel sad, instead of avoiding it or drowning in it, explore what loss needs to be grieved or what need isn't being met. This foundation also includes recognizing your inherent worth independent of your performance. Notice the voice in your head that ties your value to your productivity, your likability, or your achievements. Begin to question these equations gently. You wouldn't love a sunset less if it lasted 5 minutes instead of 30. Your worth isn't determined by your output. Develop a practice of acknowledging yourself not just for what you accomplish, but for who you're being. Appreciate your courage in difficult conversations, your kindness in small moments, your persistence through challenges. Learn to see your character as clearly as you see your capabilities. Foundation 2. Authentic expression. The second foundation is learning to express your authentic self in ways that honor both your truth and your relationships. This isn't about saying whatever you think or being brutally honest regardless of impact. It's about finding ways to be genuine that create connection rather than conflict. Start with small expressions of authenticity. If someone asks how you are and you're struggling, instead of automatically saying fine, try, "I'm having a challenging day, but I'm grateful you asked." If someone suggests a restaurant you dislike, instead of going along reluctantly, offer an alternative with warmth. Practice expressing preferences without over-explaining or apologizing. You don't need to justify why you prefer tea over coffee or why you enjoy quiet evenings over loud parties. Your preferences are valid simply because they're yours. Learn to say no with grace and without guilt. "I won't be able to join you for that, but thank you for thinking of me," is a complete response. You don't owe anyone a detailed explanation for declining invitations or requests that don't align with your availability or values. When you need to address something that's bothering you, focus on your experience rather than the other person's character. "I felt unheard in our meeting today" is more authentic and less defensive than "you never listened to me." This allows you to honor your truth while keeping the conversation constructive. Develop the courage to share your deeper thoughts and feelings with safe people. Authenticity isn't just about surface preferences. It's about letting others know your real struggles, your genuine dreams, your honest fears. This vulnerability, when shared appropriately, deepens relationships and builds mutual respect. Foundation 3. Healthy boundaries. The third foundation is establishing and maintaining boundaries that protect your energy, time, and emotional well-being while still allowing for meaningful connection and contribution. Understand that boundaries aren't walls. They're more like the banks of a river that allow the water to flow powerfully toward its destination. Without boundaries, your energy dissipates. With healthy boundaries, your energy becomes focused and effective. Start by identifying where you currently feel depleted or resentful. These feelings often indicate where boundaries are needed. If you consistently feel exhausted after interactions with certain people, you may need emotional boundaries. If you're always running late because you can't say no to additional requests, you may need time boundaries. Learn the difference between firm boundaries and rigid walls. A firm boundary might be, "I don't take work calls after 8 p.m.," while still being flexible for genuine emergencies. A rigid wall might be, "I never talk about work outside the office, even when collaboration would be beneficial." Practice communicating boundaries clearly and kindly. Instead of hoping people will guess your limits, express them directly. "I care about our friendship, and I need to share that I'm not comfortable discussing others' personal problems," is clearer and kinder than dropping hints or building resentment. Remember that maintaining boundaries isn't about controlling others' behavior. It's about choosing your own responses. You can't make people respect your boundaries, but you can consistently honor them yourself through your choices and actions. Foundation 4. Value-aligned choices. The fourth foundation is making decisions based on your authentic values rather than external expectations, fears, or the desire for approval. This requires clarity about what truly matters to you and the courage to honor those values even when it's uncomfortable. Begin by identifying your core values through reflection and observation. What principles do you want to guide your life? What kind of person do you want to be? What legacy do you want to leave? Your values might include authenticity, compassion, creativity, justice, adventure, or stability. There are no right or wrong values, only yours. Notice when your choices align with your values and when they don't. Pay attention to how you feel when you make value-aligned decisions versus when you make choices based on what you think you should do or what others expect. Start making small choices that honor your values even when they're inconvenient. If honesty is a core value, practice being truthful in small interactions instead of saying what you think people want to hear. If creativity is important to you, carve out time for creative expression even when life feels busy. Learn to tolerate the discomfort that sometimes comes with value-aligned choices. Standing up for what you believe in isn't always easy or popular. Speaking your truth may sometimes disappoint others. Living authentically requires courage because it means risking disapproval. Develop a decision-making framework based on your values. When facing choices, ask yourself, which option aligns most closely with who I want to be? Which choice would I respect myself for making? Which path honors my authentic values even if it's more challenging? The transformation process. With these foundations in place, let's explore how self-respect transforms from a concept into a lived reality. This transformation happens gradually, through consistent practice and patient cultivation, not through dramatic overnight changes. Phase 1. Recognition. The first phase involves recognizing all the ways you currently compromise your self-respect without judgment. This isn't about criticism or self-attack, it's about developing honest awareness of your patterns. Notice when you say yes but feel no. Observe when you apologize for things that aren't your fault. Pay attention to when you minimize your achievements or exaggerate your mistakes. Watch for moments when you change your behavior to avoid disapproval. Keep a simple log for a week of situations where you felt your self-respect was compromised. Don't try to change anything yet. Just observe and note what you discover. You might notice patterns around certain people, specific situations, or particular triggers. This recognition phase is crucial because you can't change what you don't acknowledge. Many people unconsciously give away their power in hundreds of small ways each day without realizing it. Bringing these patterns into conscious awareness is the first step toward transformation. Phase 2. Experimentation. The second phase involves experimenting with new responses and behaviors in low-stakes situations. This is where you begin to practice self-respect in small, manageable ways that build your confidence and skill. Start with situations that feel relatively safe. Maybe it's expressing a preference about where to have lunch with a friend, or politely declining a request that would overextend you. The goal is to practice honoring yourself in ways that feel authentic but not overwhelming. Try speaking up once per day about something small that matters to you. This might be asking for your correct order at a restaurant, expressing appreciation when someone does something you value, or sharing a boundary that would make your life easier. Experiment with different ways of communicating your needs and boundaries. Some people respond better to direct communication, others to gentle suggestions. Learn to read situations and adapt your approach while staying true to your core message. Notice how others respond to your increased self-respect. Most people will actually treat you better when you model healthy boundaries and authentic expression. Those who react negatively to your self-respect are giving you valuable information about the nature of your relationship. Phase 3. Integration. The third phase involves integrating self-respect into all areas of your life until it becomes natural and automatic. This is where self-respect transforms from something you practice into something you embody. Begin applying self-respect principles to your professional life. This might mean negotiating for fair compensation, speaking up in meetings when you have valuable inputs, or declining projects that don't align with your professional growth. Extend self-respect into your personal relationships. Practice expressing your needs clearly, setting appropriate boundaries with family members, and choosing friends who appreciate your authentic self rather than a performed version of you. Apply self-respect to your relationship with yourself. Notice self-talk that's harsh or critical and practice speaking to yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a good friend. Make choices that honor your physical health, emotional well-being, and spiritual growth. Develop rituals and practices that reinforce your self-respect. This might be a morning practice where you set intentions for honoring yourself that day, or an evening reflection where you acknowledge moments when you chose self-respect over people-pleasing. Phase 4. Mastery. The fourth phase is when self-respect becomes so integrated that it influences everything you do without conscious effort. You naturally make choices that honor your authentic self because anything else feels incongruent. At this level, self-respect isn't something you have to remember to practice. It's woven into your character so completely that it guides your decisions automatically. You don't have to think about setting boundaries because you naturally gravitate towards situations and relationships that honor your well-being. Your presence itself becomes magnetic because you're no longer trying to be anything other than authentically yourself. People are drawn to your natural confidence, your genuine warmth, and your comfortable relationship with your own humanity. You become someone others turn to for guidance about living authentically because you embody the possibility of being fully yourself while still being loving, generous, and connected to others. Advanced applications. As your self-respect matures, there are advanced applications that can deepen its impact on your life and relationships. Compassionate firmness. One advanced skill is learning to be compassionately firm, maintaining your boundaries and values with warmth and understanding rather than coldness or aggression. This allows you to honor yourself while still caring for others' feelings and maintaining connection. For example, if a friend consistently arrives late and keeps you waiting, compassionate firmness might sound like, "I care about our friendship and I also value my time. Going forward, I'll wait 10 minutes and then leave if you haven't arrived. I'd love to work together to find ways to help you be on time." This approach honors your need for reliability while acknowledging that your friend may have challenges with punctuality. It sets a clear boundary while offering collaboration rather than punishment. Authentic confidence. Another advanced application is developing authentic confidence, the quiet assurance that comes from knowing yourself deeply and accepting yourself completely. This is different from performed confidence, which requires constant maintenance and external validation. Authentic confidence allows you to admit mistakes without shame, ask for help without feeling weak, and receive compliments without deflecting. You become comfortable with your full humanity, your strengths and your limitations, your successes and your failures. This confidence is magnetic because it's real. People can sense the difference between someone who's trying to appear confident and someone who's genuinely at peace with themselves. Inspirational presence. The most advanced application of self-respect is when your very presence inspires others to treat themselves with greater dignity and authenticity. You become a living example of what's possible when someone fully honors their own worth. This isn't about being perfect or having it all figured out. It's about being genuinely yourself with such consistency and grace that others feel permission to do the same. Your self-respect gives others permission to respect themselves. Living as your authentic self. As we conclude this journey together, I want to leave you with this understanding. Making self-respect your superpower isn't about becoming someone different. It's about becoming more fully who you already are. The person you're meant to be isn't hiding behind years of conditioning, people-pleasing, or self-doubt. That person is you, right now, with all your imperfections and humanity, worthy of respect simply because you exist. Self-respect as a superpower means you stop giving your power away to others' opinions, expectations, or approval. You stop trying to earn love and start embodying lovability. You stop proving your worth and start living from your worth. This doesn't mean you become selfish or uncaring. Actually, the opposite happens. When you respect yourself, you have more to give others because you're giving from abundance rather than emptiness. When you honor your own boundaries, you can be more generous within those boundaries. When you accept your own humanity, you can extend more compassion to others' humanity. Your relationships become more authentic because you're showing up as your real self rather than a performed version. Your work becomes more fulfilling because you're bringing your genuine talents and values to it. Your daily experience becomes richer because you're no longer expending energy on maintaining false images or suppressing your true nature. The superpower of self-respect isn't something you use against others or to manipulate situations. It's something that transforms you from within and naturally influences everything around you. When you genuinely respect yourself, you create a field of authenticity that invites others to be more real as well. This is your invitation to step into that power. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, not when you've fixed all your flaws or achieved all your goals. Right now, exactly as you are, you have everything you need to begin treating yourself with the respect you deserve. The world doesn't need another person trying to be perfect. The world needs you to be authentically, courageously, unapologetically yourself. When you make self-respect your superpower, you don't just change your own life, you give everyone around you permission to do the same. Your worth isn't negotiable. Your voice matters. Your boundaries are valid. Your authentic self is your greatest gift to the world. It's time to unwrap that gift. It's time to let your true self shine. It's time to make self-respect your superpower and watch how everything in your life transforms from the inside out.